Okay. Hey, everyone. This is a test. And I have with me my good buddy, Mr. Hugh, who's joining us from the Buckeye State. Hey, Hugh, how are you?
I'm doing fine, John. I heard my wife upstairs. Let me just a moment. Let me go tell her to turn on YouTube.
All right, sounds fair. If you're joining us just to see what's going on, I apologize. We are just testing. We're just trying to see if this new setup works, and so far, so good. This is just a test.
Sweetheart. Hey. Hey.
I see.
Okay. Yeah. Coming back.
All right.
Coming back. Oh, let me.
Interview with the Narvi Cam. What kind of camera do you have?
I have a Logitech. What is it? 720.
Is
But
it
it sometimes.
C920? You know, you can get an app for that, and it will let you adjust it and set the settings for it, and like an actual Logitech
I
app.
know. Let me turn it off for a second. Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes this where its focus gets squirrely.
1 second. I'm going to see if I
It
can get this.
decides to focus very close in.
Interview with Narvi Cam. All right, 1 second. I'm going to see if I can get this set up so that you can actually see the gaming screen in addition to everything else here. So let's see if we can set this. All right, so we're going to go
Of
to...
course, just have my books behind me.
You know, there's too many damn windows in Narvicam. Hey guys, well, I promise you we'll actually get a game going here at some point. If you're actually watching this, this is cool. I don't know, maybe we'll just talk about Israel. But I'm
All
trying to
right.
see if I can get this set
Huh?
correctly first.
I don't
Let's
know.
see here. Camera A and camera C. It doesn't work quite so well.
I see the
If I do
focus is.
that and that.
I know there's an app for running this thing. Let me see.
Yeah, this is one of those things where you're like, well, dude, why didn't you just like freaking set this up before you went live? And the answer is you can't actually test this until you go live. Overlays, overlays. No. No, not the screen share. Jeez. Oh, God.
Now I asked Grok to do an image. Take that same image of Gracie and turn it into like her parachuting out of a plane.
Huh.
And what it came up with is just indescribable.
Huh.
Basically, it's like half human, half dog. And let's see if I can email you one of them.
Okay, that's that. Video source. Guest. Hugh. Oh, there you are. Hey, look at that. There we go.
Cool.
All right. So, have you played Suzerain?
No.
Okay. The best way to describe Suzerain is if you are the new president in the 1950s of fake Turkey.
Okay.
You know, Turkey. All right, Suzerain. We got this here. Let's see if I can. All right. Suzerain,
Oh, I hear the
Suzerain.
beast.
Here we
I
are.
hear the beast.
Oh, of course, there's an update.
I hear the beast. Here's our special. Oh, come on, beast.
You can't
Come
tame
here,
the beast.
come
I've
here,
never played a
Gracie.
Vampire the Masquerade, I guess, too.
Come here, Gracie. Come up here, Gracie. If I move towards her, she'll spook away. You're so afraid of dog.
So, did you hear about the assassination of that woman who's a congresswoman in the state of
Yes, I
Minnesota today?
did. I heard about that earlier today.
And I suppose, I guess I understand what happened was right when she got assassinated right after she had crossed the aisle to join the GOP on a vote about benefits for illegal aliens. And
Really?
yeah, that's my understanding. And this guy came up and waxed her. And from what I understand, just from reading on the news stories and feeds on X and that kind of thing, is that um, basically she was, she was very emotional about the whole decision. It was apparently a very tough decision for her, but she thought it was the most important thing for. She thought it was in the best interest of the state at the end of the day, and that's why she went that way. And this fellow was apparently, I don't know if this was the triggering event, but he clearly was, not on the side of the GOP, I guess. And
So
there's
so
this
they're trying
weird.
to say
Go ahead.
they were trying to say he was right wing, that he was extreme right wing. At least that's what I read earlier in the day.
Yeah, no,
But
that not at all, not at all. And in fact, this guy apparently had some kind of association, not direct, but some kind of association with Governor Walz, and at least that's my immediate understanding of it here. I think, let's see here.
as
Yeah,
a
I guess she and
4 hour
her husband were
run,
killed.
yeah, and he was going after others.
But I think they got him. The suspect, no, they did not. Vance Luther Bertler.
Altered.
I think OE is, but whatever. 57 years old. Man, you can't trust anyone over 50. I tell you, swear to God. Minnesota lawmakers shooting suspect armed, dangerous. Let's see. What do we know? What do we know about this guy? Of course, his socials all went down immediately.
Right.
Um,
Because I looked him up on X. Let me get his name. I looked him up on X yesterday. I tried to do a deep dive on him, and or I should say, I used Grok. Let me try that again.
yeah, he's tied to. Oh yeah, he was CEO of the Red Lion Group, which is based in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
Well, any country that has democratic in its name is usually authoritarian.
Well, usually it's communist, but I
Yeah.
think in the DRC's case, that's like a traditional name from the 1960s, so it doesn't quite match up. But it's not a good place. My father flew there a lot in the Air Force with pulling Belgians out and putting the UN in, as I recall. He was part of that Congo offensive in the 1960s. You remember that the second big United Nations force that actually did something worthwhile other than Korea was the one in the Congo.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. May says there's about a 20-second delay.
Yeah, that's actually that's as designed. That's supposed to happen
Okay.
that way. Food service security.
Praetorian Guard security. Oh, that's a I wouldn't touch that name
He
with.
said he got away. He left behind a manifesto listing the names of 70 politicians, including Waltz, and a stack of papers stating "No Kings."
So does that mean he was going to target the No Kings protests, or that he was sympathetic to the No Kings?
Excellent question.
Because I mean, looking at Grok, I mean, you got people posting on X, which means nothing. People will say
the postage bullshit.
to post for nonsense. Now, I'm going to be at Origins this coming week, and when I play the National Security Decision Making game, which I sent you links for some of their videos. There's one guy there who's an old, I hesitate to say friend, but an old friend named Ken Kiesel, who is just like a walking encyclopedia of Russian military hardware.
Okay.
And the only thing is that, now, he was, I won't go into his personal life on air, but there are some personal things about him that, I mean, he's a nice guy. So I'll just leave it at that. But there were some personal things that were just a little bit unusual.
Fair enough.
Since this is going to be saved for perpetuity.
The internet is forever.
Internet is forever.
Okay, it looks like Suzerain is done updating, so let's see what we can do on this.
Okay. Is this something I'm able to cooperate with, or just watch you play?
I think you might just have to watch play.
That's fine.
You know what? I know that as dusk falls, there's a way to do it remote, but since this literally is by the seat of my pants, I could not tell you how to. We'd need to think harder about that one, I guess.
Yeah. So you're using Steam.
Well, they're using a Steam Deck. This is the most, redneck ghetto fabbed kind of setup we have. Like, the Steam Deck is just like a Nintendo Switch sized console. We've got it plugged into a Narvicam capture card going to a Mac Mini, and then it's outputting to a TV and outputting to a monitor right here too, in addition to getting fed everywhere. So it's pretty crazy. No thank you. Can you hear the sound?
Yeah, I hear it.
I think it's a little too loud. I'm going to tamp it down. Actually, this is another good test. I've set up this audio feed system called Audio Hijack, which sounds dangerous, actually, but it works really well. I think it does. Now, you tell me, do you hear the sound go down when I do this?
The sound goes down.
Okay. That's great. This Audio Hijack is the best, guys. This is awesome. Worth every penny. Alright. Let's call it a new game. This is the Hue campaign. I'll let you make the choices. I'll just...
Okay.
Let me know when you're done.
You have to watch the videos on the National Security Decision Making game, because it's a live role-playing game. It's like a War College event.
So is this something you do only at Origins, or is this something that goes on?
It goes on several conventions. The men who run it, I mean, they actually asked me to become one of the moderators, because you have, or what's the term? You have like a person who's running the game, and then a group of monitors or moderators who fill in the roles of the real world. And then you have people who are assigned roles, and ideally what they'll do is they'll have a cell for each country. So you might have 2 cells of countries at odds with each other.
Okay.
And you have a scenario. So you might do like classic Cuban War or Cuban Missile Crisis scenario.
I want to do a soccer war scenario anyway. Football war.
And like you might be, they will pick various power centers. So you might be the oil and gas industry, or you might be the head of the CIA, or someone might be the head of chief of staff for the U.S. Army, chief of staff for the Air Force, and each of you make decisions for your power center.
Gotcha. So you're part of the deep state.
Yes. Well, the idea is to run a simulation of the way a government would function, not a government, but a whole country would function.
Uh,
And then you give it a scenario. So like there was one time one of the first game I ever played, it was an Iranian cell versus a Saudi Arabian cell. May was watching this, and I was assigned as the head of the Iranian secret police.
what?
And
so is it Savama?
I can't remember
Or
now.
is it Savak?
Savak was during the Shah's days.
It's Savama then, or at least, like, a lot of my information about the world situation comes from books I read, like when I was a teenager in the 1990s.
Yeah.
But most of those books were written in the 1970s and 80s. So just because I have this habit of being able to read things and learn them and remember things like decades later now at this point. But the problem is that if at some point they changed anything about that, if I didn't read about it, I don't know anything about it, and this is not something that came in the news, so it's quite possible they changed it. You know, a classic example is I was within one question of winning this intense James Bond trivia quiz, and the only reason I missed it, the only question I missed had to do with like a Pierce Brosnan era Bond question. I'm like, I don't know, man. I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, well, I used to be that way with Star Trek and Star Wars, and now there's so much of both that I have not watched. But I used to be a walking encyclopedia. We'd had a situation.
Star Wars is easy though. There was only 3 movies ever made.
Yeah. If you go that, yes. Well, we were once playing Star Trek Trivia Pursuit.
It's also like it's like The Matrix. You know, someday, you know, I really don't think they're ever going to make a sequel to The Matrix, because that one movie they made was just so strong and so good. It stood alone by itself, and they probably just, you know, those 2 guys, the Wachowski brothers, are probably just like, you know what, dude, we nailed this first time. The 2 of us, you know, hey, bro, you know, we don't need to do this anymore. And I'm sure that's what happened.
Yes, but
all right,
when it was
I'm gonna push play on the start story here. So you gotta read the backstory.
Okay, let me try and make this larger. No, I was in college when the Shah fell, so I remember before the.
Dude, are you kidding me?
I was in college with I was at college with Iranian protesters. They were certain that that Khomeini was going to liberate the country, and that was going to turn it into a paradise.
You know what? A very good graphic novel and a somewhat adequate animation adaptation of that is Persepolis. Persepolis by, I can't think of the name of the woman who wrote it.
I've heard of it. It's
good. The graphic novel is worth it. The movie is, you know, it's cool, whatever. But read the graphic novel. It's well worth it. Okay, so you have to make a choice here.
You came from
Marjane Satrapi is her name. Marjane Satrapi.
Okay. I'll pick the wealthy family. It's always better to come up wealthy.
You know what? Yeah. Get to come from money. All right.
I've read Persepolis too.
May says she's read Persepolis too.
I agree. It's a strong one. Sharon and I, my wife, heard her give a speech in Pittsburgh once. It was fantastic. It was spoiled only by the Q&A session at the end, and this is like, we stopped going to Q&A sessions at the end of speakers after hers because someone got up and said, "Okay, excuse me, I need to ask this question. Could you explain to me the difference between Iraq and Iran? Because I think the government is trying to fool people about this." And she just sort of stared at her with this, like, "you ignorant boor" look, and she's like, "Well, they're different countries."
We're dealing with Persian largely Persian. Well, I mean, there's.
I mean, she just had this look of just, "Are you fucking serious?" Like, dude, don't waste my time.
Iran is between Iraq and a hard place.
All right, okay, so here you go.
Life was easy at first. You had the best education money could afford. It's always better to be part of the educated people. Whenever there's a revolution that's for the proletariat, the elite, educated elite always take charge.
Smart and rich beats dumb and poor any day of the week.
Yes, unless you're a bank robber like Stalin. Or things aside, the remember due to absence of your father, the years passed. Oh, A New Beginning, 1908. That was the year my dad was born.
Nice. History class.
Oh, the terrified dog is here. Gracie, Gracie, come here. Come here. If I reach down and pick her up, she'll startle. I just move my hands like that, and she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to come on screen.
Oh, that's too bad. That dogs
Wait a
are
second,
guaranteed clicks. You know what I mean? It's like
Wait a second. Let's see.
There
There she is. There's Gracie.
Nice.
There's Gracie.
Okay. Hey, this is the perfect time to like and subscribe if you're actually hanging with us so far. You want more? You want more dog? Subscribe.
Yes.
Okay, here we are. Next question here.
All right, let me read this. Get my camera back in place. During history, there were a lot of commotion. Everyone tried to figure out the historic revolution. The kingdom was no more. The Republic of Scotland was no. Swordland was born. You were happy to have the day off. No, I'm not saying you were somewhat worried. Let's go with 3. You were somewhat worried. It's always better to be paranoid.
Yes.
Months after the Republic was proclaimed, life around you changed. You watch your friends.
Oh, you know what? They've changed this since I played. I played this when it came out, maybe 22, 23, something like that. They did not have these options here, so this is now interesting for me.
So it's like easier resources, so you can play the easy.
In their struggle, I felt the weight carrying chose to shoulder even more. So what path did you take? And you could always just, split the difference here, it looks like.
We'll go for easy. I always go for the cheat code.
Why not?
After graduating, we passed the university exam. Let's see. Law, economics, or history. Go for law.
Yeah, I agree. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be lawyers.
Well, I was going to go to film school. My undergrad was in filmmaking. I wanted to be a filmmaker. That was a bad idea. And then I took the L.
Hugh, you've made it.
And I took the LSAT, and I got a 782. That was back in the days when the scores were 200 to 800. I think I was the last person to take it under the old system.
Nice.
So I think it'd be the same, like a 178 now or something like that. So it was
I'm sorry, Mr. 99th percentile here. Is that what you're saying? Is that
yes.
a flex?
I got my LSAT. I actually still have the letters. Like I'm looking at the letter and I see like a pair of 99s. And so, you're in the 99th percentile. I was in the top 1/10 of 1%. It got me in Ohio State. It was the best law school in Ohio, or it was the highest ranked law school in Ohio, was and is. And it was also the cheapest option for me. So it worked out both ways.
Nice. Moritz College, right?
Yes.
Anyway, here we go.
Supreme Court is obstructing justice in Scotland. Sort of. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say Scotland.
Ripped from the headlines.
He stated the law she applied. This guy needs to go to jail. I'm going to question what I'm being taught. I'm going to go full authoritarian here,
Oh, are you? Okay. You have that option. Now, the only question remaining is what kind of authoritarian?
When I was in law school, my first year when I had con law, my con law professor was a radical feminist lesbian. And for some strange reason, my class of 200 students, we were generally all divided into 3 sections. And we went to the same classes within our section. I was C-section, and C-section went to all same classes together. But for con law, they created a 4th section. And I thought it was really weird that there were 40 students in this class and only 3 men.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that was and it was terrible. And it was not one of my better grades in law school. And during my 3rd year of law school, I learned that there was a lawsuit going on. It turns out the 3 lowest grades in her class went to the 3 men.
Really?
And I remember the exam was strange, but I can't remember why. But I remember the other thing is it was so bad I said take a class in political and civil rights. And I was really glad I did because my professor was David Goldberger. He was the Jewish ACLU lawyer who represented the Nazis at Skokie.
Oh, Jesus.
I did not know that at the time I took the class. But he was a blast, and I had fun. I sat in the background, and I was very good at taking positions that I didn't agree with. It's called role playing.
I still say that the apex of my legal career, other than e-discovery at Reed Smith, was when I went toe-to-toe with Ron Rotunda in his own class on con law and emerged as a survivor and having like actually endured the whole thing and got his respect at the end. That was that was my proudest moment of my legal career. I mean, so some might say it was the time I helped that woman earn custody of her kid.
Yeah.
Nah, Ron Rotunda.
Well, I had a good time with J.J. Freeland in his tax class, corporate tax. J.J. Freeland was like the god of corporate tax. He used, at the beginning of class, he would say, my textbook or my casebook and fundamentals of federal income taxation, Freeland, Lind, and Stevens. It's been adopted by 109 law schools and 110 law schools. One day I asked him, well, sir, has anyone approached you about the film rights? I got laughing.
All right.
And the thing is, then I thought of...
Well, go ahead.
I know.
Go ahead, sorry.
Then I thought of an idea of how you could actually do a story for fundamentals of income taxation. That's for another time. Soldiers entered the campus in the evening ahead of the first election. Many were shocked as the uniformed men created a security cordon arresting the teachers. Rather than protest among your best friend, and you decided to avoid any confrontation. Because those students deserve to be arrested.
You got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold.
I've got to get warmed up for the game next week.
No, fair enough. This
is
trust me, this is a good one to warm up for your national security game.
General Lutheran declared martial law in order to restore the administration. Darn right. Please stand back and disperse to your rooms. You quickly made your way to the dormitory, avoiding the scene. You did exactly what they said.
I
no
did
choice.
Exactly as I told. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
get like over here. Get me over there. That's fine. We'll do it.
Tell me what to do. You heard screams coming from the outside.
Oh, come on, go out and see.
You heard screams coming from outside.
Just see what's going on.
Yeah, let's go see what's going to happen.
Ah, too bad.
It's a gloomy year.
The doors. It was a gloomy year.
It was a dark and stormy revolution. The arrested teachers were replaced by those who promoted conformism to the state. Hulsar turned a blind eye to things.
Holsford, just for context sake, and I think I can hover over and give you like a tooltip here. The capital. Holsford is the capital of Swordland.
Swordland. You didn't want to say idle. You decided to... The first one's likely to get you into a re-education camp.
No, there's nothing... This is all just backstory. The rest of the game proceeds a little bit differently here, but... So it's not going to hurt you. It's just going to frame your character.
Okay. I'm going to join a political debate group because I stink at political debate in real life. So dozens of debates help you hone. Oh, yes, this is good.
So what this is good because now there's no stat screen, but making decisions like going to law school, going to political debate give you certain advantages in decisions later. You won't know that you got a bonus from it unless you do a back-to-back comparison with a different playthrough where you don't make those choices. But that does help you in some regards, but it also is an opportunity cost for something. There, that's all.
Okay, so now I'm looking at Monica, and I'm immediately attracted to. Oh yeah, this is a good one.
Look,
So
I'm
the
not
guy
gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say Monica's a smoke show, but anyway, go ahead.
Says the guy who has a very beautiful wife. I'll say that I was immediately attracted to her intelligence.
You know that
because my wife is smarter than I am.
Your feminist con law professor really paid off. All right, cool.
She got some sinecure of the city of New York. She mentioned she was a volunteer for the Swordfish League of Women organization campaign for women's rights.
Your wife's watching.
I'm going to be a hypocrite.
I'll put you down for number 1.
Yeah, I will tell her I'm going to be a pure hypocrite, a self-interested, lying hypocrite, and I'll tell her I told her I supported her cause.
Done.
Politically charged environment. I'm going to join the nationalists. In real life, I probably would have joined the socialists, but
Hugh, this is being recorded.
just saying, Jews are always socialists. I mean, hey, Trotsky, go. I got to ask Trotsky, was he?
You're not a socialist.
Okay, I got to ask this. Was Trotsky? I'm going to ask, was Leon Trotsky Israel? Oh, let's see. Cohen, Levi, or Israel? Which tribe was he in? Blah, 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 blah. Well, they can't tell whether he was born Kohen. Kohen's the priest caste of Judaism. I did not know this until I hit her at the age of 30. My wife laughed. So my dad was born Kohen, but one of the prohibitions is that you're not supposed to marry a divorced woman, and you're not allowed to marry a convert. My dad married a divorced woman, so under strict law, I'm not considered to be Kohen. But when we joined the synagogue,
You're still Jewish, right?
yes, I'm still Jewish,
Right,
and it just means what order you get called up to lead. To read from the Torah during Shabbat services.
Oh,
but
really?
When we joined
So that's a
yeah,
thing? There's actually I'll say caste system, but there's kind of like, holy crap.
I did not know about this. But when I married May is of course divorced and a convert. But when we got married, they called us up the week before our marriage for Shabbat service for our wedding for an ufruf, which is sort of an honor to read it from the Torah, and they called us up during the Kohen Aliyah. So I was like, okay, so I guess I'm still Kohen, and that got a chuckle from the synagogue.
It's one of those things where you just say, well, obviously you know what you're doing, so I'm just going to follow your lead, and there's no need to ask any questions.
But I'm smart enough to know that if I'm at an Orthodox synagogue for Shabbat services, and I've done this, and they used to give me the honor of getting called for a Torah reading. I would say I'm Israel. So it's like Kohen, Levite, or Israel. And Israel's the lowest status. Well, I'll just say I'm Israel. But, and it's like, well, they refused to have fighting. You couldn't believe the army was fighting amongst themselves. Oh, yeah, I can believe it. Further plunge in the chaos. Yeah, I can believe it. You don't have to study history to know that. All right, so 1928, my dad was in medical school.
1928, it was a...
He actually got to medical school after finishing his sophomore year of college.
So just so we're clear, framing story: Rickard, communist; Lutheran, nationalist. So you joined a protest because you're dumb. What did you chant?
End the chaos. We want stability.
You marched against Rickard.
Many socialists were among them. You knew something was going to happen. This could be fun. Better get out of there. Left.
Peacing out. Monica.
Difficult time for love. The love of your life.
Chaos.
The chaos had to end. No choice there. The charismatic colonel.
Tarquin Saul. Or, as I like to call him, fake Kemal Ataturk.
Yes. New Constitution was written. Single party elections.
That's right. It's all you need.
I'll vote for this United Swordland Party.
Oh.
And they won.
Yeah, good thing.
The totals came in, and it was like putting Laura Roslin in charge of the ballot box.
Well, maybe.
A 4-year restoration period. 30 years later, they're still on that 4-year period. After graduation, you kept seeing Monica. You were interested in marrying and starting a family. However, a letter arrived from the military calling you to fulfill your compulsory service.
You got to, it's like Scott Baio used to say, Hugh, you got to register with selective service. It's the law.
Yes. Yeah. I was actually old enough by 2 months not to have to do that.
Wow. I was not. I love those commercials where Scott Baio was like, selective service is not a draft. And I'm like, yes, it is. We're just not drafting anyone right now. Like, don't lie to me, Scott Baio. I mean, come on.
Do you know the difference between the United States Army and the Army of the United States?
Tell me.
I didn't realize this until very recently, and I could be wrong. I could have it backwards. But the United States Army is the regular army, and that's made up of people who volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
But during times when they institute the draft, they'll create the Army of the United States, and all the draftees go into the Army of the United States. And they will take officers from the U.S. Army and put them into the Army of the United States. So that's how you could have an officer who might be, say, like Custer, a lieutenant colonel, and they make him a brigadier general or maybe a major general in the Army of the United States. And then when the war is over and they disband all the people who were drafted, you go back to the regular army and you go back to your regular
Hugh,
rank.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I just asked my good friend Chat G, and he agrees. What you just said is the truth. I was afraid you were going down the path of those guys who are like, well, if you see an American flag with gold fringe on it, it's not a real American flag. I thought we were going down that path.
No. I'm embarrassed to say I read this on Wikipedia, and I read it because I was reading an article about Audie Murphy.
No way.
And he was given a commission. He was commissioned a lieutenant, a battlefield commission. After the war was over, they were going to offer him a permanent position in the U.S. Army, in the regular Army, but he would have to go to West Point and graduate the academy. And instead, he decided to join, I think, the National Guard in one of the states to keep a rank.
Okay.
I think he died at the rank of major. Keep saying, it's time to serve your national duty.
All right, let's do this. Okay.
Hopefully, nothing logistics.
Now, Valen is what we'll call fake Iraq. And Yosef Lancea is your commanding officer.
Yes, ordered you to lead your squad on a border patrol mission. It was a cold and wintry night. When you began marching out of the Gum Run outpost, you could see your breath. All right. After
illegal aliens. Oh, you gotta watch them.
A group of refugees had made it beyond the border fence. You, go back.
Number one, I assume.
Number one.
You didn't just wave them through.
Nope.
Right. They were in despair, Hugh. They're despairing.
I returned to civilian life.
Okay.
Her parents blessed the wedding. That's good. It's always good when the parents approve of your choice.
Yeah. Oh, look at you rising up through the ranks.
Yeah. So you accept it.
Why did you accept it?
Working for the ruling party was the easiest path to power. Of course.
Done.
Says the Jewish lawyer at the Christian Coalition. I'm climbing the ladder. First multi.
And he was reelected. Go figure.
Boy, this sounds familiar. Gotta keep those judges in their place. Because at some point they begin to realize, we interpret the laws. We can make them do what we want. And then at some point they realize, yeah, you can write the law. Who is it who said, how many divisions does the court have? I think that's a Stalin statement.
That was a Stalin. How many divisions does the Pope have?
That's right. How many divisions the Pope has?
I'm sorry, that doesn't enter your worldview, the Pope, but yeah.
Yeah. You were to become a member, case triggered. Meet the president. Oh, gosh. It's always a pain when you meet the chief executive.
Yeah.
I say this from firsthand experience. It's always a pain when you get called in to meet the chief executive. That happened to me in the islands not too long ago. That was not a fun day. I accepted right away. Woohoo.
Yeah, I have no doubts. Come on, let's do this.
As the youngest MP, what am I? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, youngest MP.
No, she's not the youngest one, I don't think.
Not anymore, not the youngest member of Congress. She was. Somewhere around here, my monitor is like an AOC monitor, and somewhere I had like the AOC operating manual. I loved it.
Nice.
Birth of your son, yeah, so you brought on Peter Vectern as your right-hand man. Who is Peter Vectern again?
You didn't. Your best friend.
My best friend. The birth of provide a brief moment of joy and relief. You.
Wrong. Ah, so which did you do?
I'm going to do sacrifice family time to improve my position in the party. I can have family time later. Idiot. 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 Absolute wrong decision, but I mean, you can look back on those times. Gee, I had a great day 20 years ago with my family. God, I wish I'd done
that was
more
such a
often.
great day. We should do another one of those sometime soon.
And then it's 20 years later, and those little kids are now getting their PhDs, and it's like, not going to be going to play computer. I once piled like 3 computers into the back of my Audi and drove up to Connecticut from Washington, D.C. and spent the weekend with my 2 young nephews playing computer games. And they remembered that weekend very fondly.
That's cool.
I should have done it a lot more often.
Yeah.
But once your father, just like your father, you prioritize. The cracks begin to show. I think he's going to have to suffer a 9mm brain hemorrhage.
Oh, I don't think so.
Now, that's what happens when an administration stays in power too long.
Shall I put you down for internal opposition then?
No, I'm just saying that from voice of experience, I've learned that you have to have a certain amount of you need to change out staff regularly. Otherwise, you end up getting, I'm going to have my protege take my place, but except your protege is maybe a little bit less competent than you are. And after a couple iterations of that, you end up some really stupid people running things. You watch from the side lanes. What the hell? I'll keep supporting the president.
Gotta dance with them that brung you.
Yeah.
I think Ewald Alfonso is fake Paul Ryan.
Okay. Well, at some point we're going to have something to do with Greece, but then let's see, we're after the Armenian genocide, so So I have a meeting with him. A lucrative deal. Minister of Justice and Law. I'll accept. I'll vote for Tarquin. Oops, I screwed up there.
Ooh, did you?
I don't care about who's in charge.
Did your best not to help him.
I'll join the party effort and campaign for him.
You're a party man, you.
Yeah.
Main opposition, the People's Freedom and Justice Party.
Beware. Be wary. Be very wary. Who do you... That's... Being craven, it's difficult to decide.
Well, if you're Craven, then you definitely don't choose number 1.
Yes. But if you try to climb the ladder too aggressively, you end up with the rungs pulled out from under you.
So 3 then?
I'll go for 3.
Privatization.
I can't read that. It's gotten blurry.
Which part? The other parties announced their bids for the 1953 election, but the unfair election system hampered opposition efforts to campaign. You, 1, thought that your party could not survive another crisis. 2, were worried about the economic recession. 3, worried that your reputation would be tarnished along with Alfonso.
I'll go with 3. I'm a craven person. Honest, but craven.
With Peter's help, your presence in the USP grew. The two of you worked long nights together. He flipped opponents to your side. You became the face of a new wing of the parties. Step by step and with adequate planning, your wing took over the leadership as President Alfonso lost control. The moment had come to make a move. You, 1, blamed Alfonso for the crisis on television. 2, bribed and extorted Alfonso's inner circle. 3, advised Alfonso he should step down.
2! Absolutely 2!
Most of the inner circle abandoned him. Even Minister of Development Gus Manger, President Alfonso, started to reshuffle his cabinet, but it was too late. Alfonso was removed from power by a no-confidence vote. The party eventually voted you in because of your influence. Following this, you announced that you'd be running for president in the general election with Peter as your running mate. It was your turn.
My turn.
After visiting every city and town during the campaign, you made a speech on state television. You promised to, 1, enact democratic reforms, or 2, preserve national values.
Preserve national values.
We have enough democracy at home. We need more national values. I agree. Great nation of Swordland! Due to our incompetent leadership, enemies both internal and external are influencing our glorious nation. Today, more than ever, we need to unite under one flag and protect our values. Grishy Swordland! And Grishy Swordland means?
Yes.
Great,
Yeah.
Swordland. Okay, broadcast ended.
Let me check with my assistant, Dedra Miro.
On election day, millions went out to cast their votes. Some of them were even counted.
Yes.
It was time to face the truth.
And some of them were counted more than once.
Oh, you won. Ah, yes, the important character customization.
I'd go without a hat. Very 20th century, you know. That hair.
What's that? That one?
Back. Yeah, I'll go with that.
All right.
No
Good.
facial. No, I need a mustache. Need to have some.
Well, you tell me
That-
which one.
Go with that.
That?
Back one.
No, back one. That one.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right.
Attire. Like, no, back one. Back two. We'll go with that.
Background.
What do you think I am? Joe Biden with
I
the
have
red?
no idea. I'm just like, this is your option.
That one.
All right. Accessories.
Glass. Yeah, those glasses. Go
Black
back
ones?
one.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it?
Probably a mistake. You know, you should have dark hair and no glasses, pretend to be virile.
That's all right. This is like intellectual movie star. Oh, here you are. You've made consequential promises to the people of Swordland to gain their votes in the election. Consider your commitments carefully. After the recent market reforms and the recession, the country finds itself stuck between two different economic systems with indecision and turbulence, causing the population to demand a direction. Promote planned economy or promote a market economy?
Promote market economy. Because planners can't plan squat.
Diplomatic leaning. East, west, neutral. The global rivalries are the capitalist Arcasia in the west, the monarchy of Rumburg to the north, and the communist United Contana in the east.
We'll go west. Go west, young man.
Immigration. In the last 5 years, Bludish, or Kurdish, Vezek, or Iraqi, and Agnolian, or Dutch, immigrants flocked to Swordland due to relaxed immigration laws enacted by former President Alfonso. As a result, these tensions are causing requests for political solution.
Ooh. Toughen immigration laws.
Toughen immigration laws, we got this. Term focus. Education, defense, law and enforcement, and health. And you can read these if you want, but those are your choices.
We'll go with defense. Because if all else fails,
The army can really help you out. 2 weeks had passed since we won the election. And now I was about to be sworn in as the 4th president of Swordland. Thousands were watching the inauguration ceremony and cheering my name, Anton Rain. The die was cast. And there my story began. The Maroon Palace. Here we have a civilopedia here. The Maroon Palace is where the executive branch of the Swordish government is situated. Stood atop the famous Hill of Pride.
all right. My children and wife are happy.
I turn to the key people who make it all possible. I saw my previous and rival and former president Ewald Alfonso, who gave me a slight nod. Tarquin Saul was also invited, but as expected, he didn't leave his island retreat, his island fortress. Orso Hawker, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was waiting for me. That's him.
Mm-hmm.
The time for the oath has come. Which one?
I can't read it.
I'm
Good
ready.
Lord.
It has indeed. Let's start.
I'm ready.
Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will respectfully execute the office of President of Swordland.
I will respectfully execute you at the office of the President of Swordsland,
And to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend
and to the best ability, preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the Republic of Swordland.
ditto.
You may now deliver your inauguration speech, Mr. President.
3 hours later,
Thank you. It is an honor. Let's begin.
it is an honor.
Sir. So you have trouble seeing this? Is this something with the monitor, or can I do anything to zoom this in?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes the images are very blurry, and sometimes it's sharp like it is now.
I wonder if it's because, if something to do with the fact that I'm making this bigger on my screen. Well, let's leave it right here. Can you read this now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Friends, Swordlands,
My fellow swords.
we come here not to praise Caesar, but to bury him.
All right, which one?
Well, should I go full Obama on them?
Your decision.
Let's go hope and change. It worked for President Obama.
You, the people, have chosen. Today we will bring prosperity and reform to our nation. It is a time of hope. It is a time of change.
If we stand together, we prevail.
In the past, there have been times of survival, of conflict and hardship, but wherever we stood together, we prevailed. Yes, Generalissimo!
Kirk Enterprise. Sorry, I have to play with my tricorder. Or, excuse me, my communicator. I haven't got my tricorder yet. I have it on.
That's awesome.
I haven't got the invitation to order it yet. It will be awesome when I get it. Anyways, we will. Let's see. The future awaits. Let us turn our faces to the west and cross the great sea to the Valinor, where the undying lands are. It's time for a united and powerful Swordland once again.
Hundreds of thousands cheered, shouting my name in unison. I felt the responsibility, the power, and the burden all at the same time.
Raise fist.
Yes. It's triggered a burst of applause. I took a long look at the people of Swordland to burn this moment into my memory.
Sear it into my memory.
One of the presidential guards came by to notify me that it was time to leave. I made my way to the leading car in the motorcade. The presidential state car was a jet black Cadilla with flags of Swordland above the front headlights. Next to it, a man was holding the door. Hello, Mr. President. I still felt euphoric from the aftermath of my speech. Hearing my new title made me smile even more. If you'll allow me to introduce myself, I am Serge, your new driver.
Let's see, where are they? Nice to meet you, Serge. I'll go with that. Nice to meet you, Serge. It's always good
It is an
to be
honor.
good to the people who work with you.
Yeah, I think so. He respectfully bowed his head before opening the car door and gesturing inside. We will be heading to the palace. The motorcade began to move. On the way, Serge proceeded to explain his duties as a driver. As the minutes passed, I found myself lost in thought again, barely paying attention to what he was saying. He suddenly gestured out the window. Isn't it a beauty? The Maroon Palace. He was right. Sunlight glinted off the palace's many maroon-colored domes. It was so bright that I had to look away. Every time I look at it, I'm reminded of my duty to the nation. It's in good hands? So do I, Serge. It's the beating heart of the nation. We owe a great debt to the men who led the country from here, or, my favorite, it's just a building, Serge.
I'll go with number 2. I'll play up to him.
Sure. Well said, Mr. President. The car drove past the majestic gates, continued uphill to the entrance, and stopped in front of the doors. Serge got out of the car and opened the door for me. Have a great day, Mr. President. A morne vescor. He referred to the famous swordish phrase from the times of revolution, a morne vescor, vectern sis da, which meant morning will come, victory is close.
I'll say number 3.
Vectern sis da. I made my way upstairs through the extravagant corridors of the palace. Marble and engraved wooden finishes decorated the interior. My footsteps echoed in the colossal halls. The guards bowed their heads in respect as I opened the massive doors to my new office. Well, this is the Swordish Republic. Well, it is, we've been going for like an hour and a half or something like that, so this is probably a good break point, I would say.
Yes, a good test, Ron.
Yeah, I think this was a good test. Thank you ever so much for your kind assistance here in doing this shakedown cruise. Let me see if I can interview with Ecamm, intro place, all that. Let me get back to. Let's see if I can get back to just regular interview.
Look at all the obsolete hardware I have, back when you needed discs to it. You never can have enough.
Nice.
You never know when you need to do a backup.
No, I guess that's true. Although I use a server now, so it's fine.
Yeah.
You should make your own server. They're pretty cheap to make anymore.
I've got enough desktop computers around here. I just need to get hard drives for them all. I have almost every hard drive I've ever had in every computer I've ever had.
Oh, really?
Even when I get rid of the computer, I keep the hard drives.
Nice. Okay. Now, here's the only other thing I need to figure out. So this is part of the shakedown here. I'm not quite sure how to get you back to the screen, because now I've lost you. Oh, here we are. That's it. There you are. Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, thanks to you. Did you want to is there anything else you wanted to check here, or I think I have everything I've got. You said
no, this was good.
Saying that everything was sounding correct. I hope everyone who joined it looks like we had 15 or 20 people who actually jumped in to watch this at some point, so that's cool.
That's good.
This was all just a
Next
test,
time I'll try to dress
well.
appropriately rather than in my
whatever. Yeah, you're dressed too nicely. All right, man. It was great talking with you. Thank you for joining and helping out here.
I'll see you later, John.
Suzerain. You should check out Suzerain, though. You should see if you can get a copy. It's actually really good, and as you can see, it's on Steam.
Yes.
All right, man.
Bye,
Have
John.
a good one, everyone. Bye.